Hi, welcome to my channel. So I'm Edith, I'm French born Congolese and I live in London. So today I'll be talking to you about how I learned English. I wanted to share with you some of the things I did to learn English, so you can use these tips if you want to learn English or if you want to learn another language. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background. So I was born in France and I spent the first 23 years of my life there before moving to the UK, where I speak English and where I write in English on a daily basis. So I remember in year 6 I started to have English lessons just once a week, so I don't remember a lot of these lessons actually. You know, it was just about learning how to say your name, numbers, the alphabet. I also remember singing songs like the Beatles. And then I arrived in secondary school. So you need to know that in France, learning a language from year 7, so that's when you're 11 years old, that's compulsory. You have to do it. You have to take a language. At that time, we had to choose between English and German, and I chose English because I didn't know anything about German actually. Yeah, really. I just knew some words in English, and yeah, I still don't know how to speak German. So let me tell you, I was so bad at English. I was so bad. I didn't have an interest in the subject at that time. So at school during the holidays, our teacher would give us like a list of irregular verbs to learn, and on our first day back we would have a test, you know, with a table and all of the forms of the verbs, and I was just bad. I couldn't remember anything. It's not a good souvenir for me. So then between year 7 and year 10 I started to read Harry Potter. I really loved the books. I tried to read some lines in English. It was a bit difficult for me, but still I liked the books. And also I used to watch Disney Channel a lot. I loved all the Disney Channel original movies like High School Musical, Cheetah Girls, and I basically started translating my favorite songs. I would search for the lyrics of my favorite songs online, and that's how it started. So my first advice would be start with the basics. I think it's important to know the basic rules of grammar, tenses, syntax, pronunciation. And that's exactly how I started at school actually. So when I started learning English, I used to go on that website called Anglais Facile. So it's a website for French speakers that has a lot of exercises for all levels, but I think it only focuses on 2 skills. I'm not sure. But yeah, I use this website a lot. I also use Duolingo. I use it a lot for Spanish. It's really great for vocab, but I don't think it's really great for grammar. So my second advice would be listen to music, watch videos online, watch TV in English as well. So when I was in secondary school, I used to go on the internet to look for the lyrics of my favorite songs, and it helped me a lot, with pronunciation. Also, not just the lyrics, sometimes I would go on YouTube and look for the karaoke version of the song. So yeah, it helped me a lot with pronunciation. So I was also a big fan of Harry Potter films, and we had the DVDs at home. So I would put the films in English with a French subtitle, and then in English with English subtitles, so I could have the voice of the actors and the text as subtitles. I also started to watch a lot of YouTube videos that were based on my personal interests, like makeup, traveling. Yeah. So my third advice would be to start reading. I said that when I was at school, I had to remember these big tables of like irregular verbs, but I couldn't remember anything, and it's only when I started to read that I memorized all of the different forms of the verbs. You start taking notes of the words you do not understand. Try to observe the structure of the different paragraphs, different sentences. Also, you need to find a book that is not too difficult but also not too easy to read. I used to tell myself that if I could read a paragraph and understand the general meaning of it and just look up for a few words, it meant that the book was suitable for me. Also, if you're not in the mood for a 500-page book, you can also read short stories like this one that I use in Spanish. It's called Short Stories in Spanish by Oli Richards. So the stories are a bit simple, but they're perfect for language learning. So my last advice is dare to speak. You need to speak. It's a language. So I remember going to London when I was 18 or 19, and how stressed I was to ask for a ticket at the train station because I wasn't confident at all. Yeah, I felt like my English wasn't good enough, so yeah, I was stressed. I think it's also one of the reasons why I wanted to live abroad. So I knew that in order to speak English, I had to go in a country where English is used on a daily basis. Yes, you need to learn the grammar in textbooks, but at the end of the day, it's a language and you need to speak. You need to be able to use the grammar you learned in a conversation. Don't worry about making your accent perfect. Don't worry about making mistakes. I think it's part of your cultural identity to keep your accent. I've been living in the UK for 5 years now. And I still have an accent. I don't care. Yes, it can be scary, but it's the only way to improve. So if you can, try to go abroad, talk to people, order food, ask for a train ticket, for example. The more you do this and the more you'll be at ease in your everyday life in new situations. Obviously, if you cannot travel, there are other solutions. So during lockdown, I attended some online lessons. So I learned Spanish online. I spoke to people from South America, and it was really great. I learned a lot. I'm still a beginner, but I'm more comfortable. I'm not good, but I'm working on it. So it's the end of this video. So tell me in the comments how you learned English or how you learned another language. I hope you like this video. I hope that my advice will help you learn English or another language. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Au revoir!